Hey friends, I'm so excited to do this podcast today. Okay, in full transparency, I have this guest on today. This is Megan Lanford. I have Megan on because I want to hear all of her tips and her tricks for teaching women how to take their families on vacation without having to worry so much about how to afford the vacation. She teaches people how to strategically use credit cards to basically travel for free. She travels free all the time. I think she said this year she's already done $20,000 worth of travel for completely free this year. She takes 6 trips a year with her family. She's got incredible like ninja tips on how to be able to travel for way less than you currently are or to completely travel for free. And so again, I wanted her on this podcast just for me. And so I hope that this is as enjoyable for you as it was for me. Without further ado, here's Megan. Megan, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. So happy to be here.
Well, I was just privately telling you I'm so sorry that I seriously I think like I'm going to publicly apologize to you. I think I rescheduled this podcast 3 times or something. I'm so sorry. That
You're
that is not the
fine.
way I like to do business. And yet
Y-
I'm like I want her on for completely selfish reasons. Do you hear that a lot or is it
I hear that a lot.
I'm
Like
like,
I did one yesterday and she was taking notes while she
yes,
was recording.
I literally have a notepad right next to me because I like want to know all your secrets and how to do all the things that you do. Okay, so tell me how you even got started helping people how to figure out how to travel for a discount or free or whatever. Like, how did that even happen? What happened?
Yeah, so I'm a stay-at-home mama to a 2-year-old, and she's actually the whole reason that this happened. Me and my husband just wanted a different life for her growing up. He did not fly for the first time till he was 18, and it was to go to the Marine Corps. And we just took vacations to where we could drive, and we were like, we really want to be able to, like, on a Friday, just decide, let's go to Disney this weekend and, like, not have to worry about how much that cost. So I thought the whole way to get to there was to make more money, and I was completely wrong. We learned about
Yeah.
travel points. I dove in. We started traveling. We went from that typical one vacation a year family to now over 6 trips a year. We save over $20,000 doing it. And everyone just started asking how the heck we were able to do all of that. And so the
Yeah.
business was born from there.
I love it because that's how so many women I think kind of fall into business. It's like they didn't really have, a plan on being an entrepreneur or a plan on doing this for a business and then but then suddenly like people keep asking you and you're like, "Well, I guess I can teach them what I knew how to do." So I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
so um tell me, okay, so you decided you wanted to figure out how to start traveling for free or whatever. So like did you start researching or what happened next? So you had this idea you wanted to live differently, which look, I get it because I've talked on my podcast before. I think it was probably, I would say a good 10 or 12 years ago. I'd have to go back and sometime I need to do it just back in my journals. It was like a prayer journal. And I was asking the Lord, like one of my prayers was, I want to travel once a quarter. I'm like, we right now, because we were one of those families too, that we took a vacation once a year.
Yeah.
We had 3 small kids, and so we didn't love to drive because I'd rather like stab myself in the foot with a dull fork than
Right.
3 screaming kids across the country in a vehicle. But we would have to wait until like we could afford airfare because flying a family of 5 when we were, living much tighter, it was just challenging. And so then we had, thank goodness, like my husband's aunt would have a place in Florida that she would let us go stay, which is why now when we have 2 places in Florida, we let people go stay all the time for free, just trying to give back like was given to us. But we would do that, or we would go to the lake and stay for free, and we would drive there. But anyway, I can remember thinking too, okay, there has to be a better way. And I see other people getting to fly. And so eventually I'll tell you what I did. I got a Southwest credit card, which I actually still use today, but I figured out how to use it a little bit better. But I know you've got all the ninja tips. So what happened first? Like you decided you wanted to just start traveling more, and then what did you start doing?
Yeah, I'm a researcher, and so I'm the person that goes like pages in on Google. And so I
Yeah.
did all of the research, and really a lot of it was just trial and error and figuring it out as we went. We were like you, we just started with like one simple card and kind of just grew from there to now we have like 13 plus credit cards in our wallet. But yeah, just a lot of trial and error to get to where we are today. But I was like you, like finding the cheapest flight that I could on Southwest Airlines that flew at 4 o'clock in the morning and
Yep.
staying at the Holiday Inn. And I was like,
And you
there's
get
just got to be a
9
different
for a
way.
position and yeah.
Yeah.
And that just like The older I've gotten, and also the more that I fly, because right now I probably fly at least once a month, if not twice a month. And we just bought a new property down in Florida, so I've been there like 4 times in the last 6 weeks. So, it's a lot of trips, right? And I always fly Southwest because we do have a credit card with them, and I can talk about that and you can talk about that. But the older I get and stuff, I'm like, the experience of the flight is as important as the cost of it, because we used
Yes.
to live so tight that we would have to do the cheapest flights. And now I'm like, I want to be first in line. I want to not have to check in within 24 hours. I just want a like stress-free experience and
Yes.
we have one of our kids flying home to Kansas City tonight from Phoenix. And he we bought his flight and he's like, just get this one. And he forgot to check in. So he's like C-29 or something. And I'm like, son, it's gonna be, he's like, it's all right. I'm like, you're gonna be smashed in the middle. Like, I'm too old for that nonsense.
Right.
And so the experience anymore of how we travel is as equally of value to me as the cost and where and all of the things. And so when I hear you say that you have 13 different credit cards that help you to fly, I think, oh, Dave Ramsey would have an absolute fit. And so, like, I have a
Yes.
picture of Dave and I over here. I've met him several times. I love Dave Ramsey. When my husband and I were flat broke during the like 2008, 2009, when the real estate market crashed, which affected both of our
Hmm.
businesses, I literally called into Dave Ramsey's hotline. I was like, do we declare bankruptcy? What do we do? We're maxed out on credit cards. And so, we used the whole snowball and things, and we got out of debt. And, we've had money, not had money, had money, not had money, had money. And it's way more fun having money. But I know one of Dave's things is he doesn't like people to have credit cards. And I have always said to like friends, family, et cetera, that I think a lot of the things that he talks about are great for people who are really trying to get out of debt, who've been very irresponsible with money and just need to figure out a different way of doing things. But then I think there comes to like this transition where you're like, okay, if you can handle having a credit card, if you can pay it off in full in every single month, which we do, and never carry a balance, which we don't, and use it so that you can get things like free flights, like I am all for that. So talk to me about that, because that's what you're doing, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of call myself the anti-Dave Ramsey just because I'm all about the credit cards and 100%. Like if you are not in the mindset to be responsible with a credit card and you're going to go
Yeah.
on a shopping spree, don't do it. But
Yeah.
if you sit down, I recommend everyone sits down before they open their first card, go through your family's monthly budget and see how much money you spend monthly on your gas and your groceries and your bills. And that's really where you start because then you can find which credit cards you can open because everyone's a little bit different. They might be you have to spend 3,000 in the first 3 months or 4,000 or 10,000. And so you want to make sure that you can spend that so you get that sign up bonus. That's how we're going to achieve the
Okay.
large chunk of points to travel.
Like the
And
chunk of points up front initially, correct?
yeah, so those sign up bonuses is what we call them, our large chunks. And that's really where you get a large amount without spending a bunch. So a lot of people think you have to spend a lot of money on your card to get enough points to go on one vacation, where sometimes you only have to spend $1,000 to get enough points for one vacation.
Okay. So do a lot of times do you get a new card because it'll give you 100,000 points and you can fly for free?
Yeah, so I'm a little crazy because I do like to travel so much. So I am opening up a new card roughly every 3 months so that I can get those large chunks of points. And then I spend on it until I get that sign up bonus. And then I'll move on to the next card. So typically I'm only using one card at a time.
Okay. Do you have some favorites that you're like, oh, I love this, or, what, like
Ye-
Chase, or I'm trying to think of
Yeah,
what.
so Chase Bank is one of my favorites. It's kind of where I recommend everyone start.
Okay.
Chase
Okay.
Sapphire Preferred. It's a really attainable one. It's spending 4,000 in the first 3 months. It only has a $95 annual fee. It has a lot of great perks. And the great thing about Chase is they have a lot of transfer partners that you can transfer your points to. So Hyatt, Southwest Airlines, United Airlines, Marriott Bonvoy. There's some really great partners. So you can book an entire vacation, hotels, and flights with that one card.
Okay. And I'm writing that down because we have one of our kids is getting married next summer and is currently trying to get like his first credit card, which turns out can be a little bit challenging when you don't have any credit and you've,
Yeah.
never had your own apartment. I mean, he's 20, he just turned 21 just last week. So I'm going to tell him about that one because they're getting ready to take a honeymoon. They travel back and forth from Arizona to Kansas City frequently. So I will tell him about the Chase Sapphire Preferred. And so then do you end up like shutting down the card, or what do you do?
Yeah. So you never want to close a card within the first year because that's going to hurt your credit score. When
Okay.
you're responsible with all these cards and you're paying them off in full, you'll have an 800 plus credit score. It actually will boost your credit.
Okay.
But you don't want to close them within the first year. And then when I go on to think about, do I really want to keep this card in my wallet? For the most part, I would say I keep 90% of the cards open and
Okay.
never close them down. The only reason I'll close them is if it has like a really high annual fee and the perks on it, I'm just not really using it anymore and I don't find benefit anymore.
Okay. And so do you put your entire life on credit cards every month?
Yeah, so I have not used my debit card in probably 2 years. I put all personal and all business expenses on credit cards, gas, groceries, bills,
Okay.
masterminds, conferences, you name it.
Okay. What about like mortgages, car payments, etc.?
Yeah, so mortgages, there's only one card out there right now that you can pay your mortgage or rent on. It's called the Built card.
Okay.
And there's always going to be like a few things that you can't pay on credit cards. In that case, I will obviously pull out my debit card, but for the most part, you can pay almost everything on a credit card.
Okay. Is there an airline that you because okay, so I got a Southwest airline credit card. Help me, Megan. Um okay, so I got a Southwest airline credit card years ago when the kids were small. And, for a while we had to live off credit cards when the real estate market crashed, which is how we got maxed out at like 30K on a credit card at one point. And those were fun times, paying that off was not fun. But I did have my own business. And so, you're able to get chunks of cash at a time, which is much easier than if you're in a 9 to 5. But anyhow, we've just continued to use Southwest because we accumulate a lot of points there. Plus, we put enough on it that my husband is able to have a companion pass for one of our kids, and I'm able to have a companion
Mhm.
for our other kiddo. And who's at home. We still have 2 daughters that are still at home and 2 sons that are out of the house. So, when we fly, a lot of times it's the 2 girls and us. And so both the kids fly for free. And sometimes we'll have enough points that Jason and I will fly for free. So I remember like the first time this occurred to me that this is brilliant what I'm doing, but I'm not nearly as brilliant as you. But it was a couple of Christmases ago. We were going to go on a ski trip. So that would be like 4 years ago. And it was like a $5,500 was the cost of our flights for 6 of us to go skiing. But I had enough points and we had the companion pass that we paid less than $500 for 6 of us to go to Colorado and go to ski trip. And I was like, winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah.
Thinking amazing. But that's been my only strategy is like we put all of our things on Southwest, we pay it off in full every month. But I do know like if you buy the business select tickets through Southwest, you get double the points.
Mhm.
But it's also, double the expense of buying it. So give me some of your ninja tips here because we
Yeah.
eat this up.
Well, you're doing it pretty good because the companion pass is like one of the golden tickets out there, I think, especially for families, because you get to fly free with someone. And especially if you have a big family, you and your husband both can have it. Right now is like the best time to start earning the companion pass because when you earn it, you get it for the rest of the year in which you earn it plus the next year. So if you strategize opening up a card now and then finish hitting up that sign up bonus in January, you'll have it for all of 25 and 26. So
Well,
this
and
is a
I get like 100,000 points if somebody signs up with my link, but nobody ever has, Megan. Has anybody ever signed?
you yeah, you need to share your links. I max my links out every single year. So the strategy with that too is so me and my husband is not an authorized user on any of my credit cards because we are opening up the same cards separately. So I will open up, for example, the Southwest card,
Okay.
refer him, get the referral bonus. He gets the same card, and then we combine our points together. So we have 13 cards separately, but they're all the same cards.
Do you have a TikTok account?
No, I don't. Just an Instagram.
Are you anti TikTok?
I've tried it. I'm just not a fan.
This would be like but this sort of content on TikTok would go crazy because
I know, I
that
know.
is next level ninja stuff. Like it
Yeah.
never would occur to me to leave Jason off of a credit card, but you're saying him do a card, you do a card, you both get points for opening them up, but you like
Mhm.
he uses your referral link, so you get extra points.
Yeah.
Um,
So you just turned 80,000 points, for example, on one card into like 180,000.
and so and is there a like I know right now with Southwest I have 90 some thousand points on my app. Jason probably has equal. That like I always like tried to figure out like is it 20,000 for a flight? Is it 30,000 points? Is it 50,000? Is there a rule of thumb that you kind of like go by? or is it
So
too?
Southwest is really nice because they're always having sales, and so they're always fluctuating.
Mhm.
And it really just depends on where you're going. I mean, I've
Okay.
found flights to Hawaii for like 8,000 points, whereas normally it might be like 30,000 during the
Yeah.
holidays or something. So it's always fluctuating. You just have to kind of keep up on it and
Yeah.
looking. But I will say Southwest is the cheapest flights out there for points. If you were to
Okay.
go to like Delta or anything, it's always like double or triple the amount of points. So I do like Southwest for cheap flights.
Okay.
If I'm going farther, like we just went to Mexico and I wanted to fly first class with the 2-year-old, so she had some more space. So we flew United because we had some extra United points. But I will say Southwest is really great for cheap and for families.
Are you, okay. I was trying to think of what I was just going to ask. Are you a fan of, gosh, I just lost my question. Hang on, it's gonna come to me, Megan, because now I'm like, I've got so many questions that I can't wait to ask. Oh, I lost the one that was in my brain. Okay, it'll come back, and it'll probably come
It'll
back in
come
the
back.
morning, unfortunately. But okay, so when it comes to oh, I know what I was gonna say. Is there a day of the week that you feel like is better to get flights? And is it Tuesday, or am I dreaming?
So it is Tuesday. For
Yes.
whatever reason, they're always cheaper on Tuesday. And the other trick is to always book your flights one way instead of round trip, because when you do two one ways, it'll almost always be cheaper than if you did it round trip.
Why do they not teach us this stuff in school? I mean, literally, or college, or anywhere. I mean,
Right? It's and you can't find this information out there. It's just they don't tell you about it because they don't want you to use your points. The banks hide the ways to use it because they're banking on you going into debt and not spending your points.
right. And so when you have like the yearly, this is bouncing around a lot, but like the yearly fees on some cards, do you still find that you're like, I'm okay with paying a yearly fee because I'm saving so much money on not traveling that it all
Yeah.
balances out?
Yeah, I'll add up like my yearly annual fees and then I always add up how much I saved on each trip of like what it would have actually
Right.
cost me if I paid cash. And when I'm saving 20 to 30,000 a year and paying less than $1,000 in annual fees, it's like a
Fair.
no-brainer.
Yeah. Okay. You'll spend 1,000 to save 20. I get it. So
Yeah,
me, for my audience who is going to be highly, female business owners, I know
yes.
that you have, some tips on small businesses, how to use your small business to fund your travel. So can you give us a couple of those things?
Yeah, so business owners, you guys have a whole other world of credit cards because there's personal credit cards and there's business credit cards. And you can open up a business credit card with like a full LLC EIN number, or you can do it as a sole proprietorship with your social security number. So if you're like a network marketer or you have a full-blown LLC, it doesn't matter. You can open up these business credit cards. And the great thing about them is they tend to have higher sign-up bonuses. Some are like 100 to 150,000 points. And a lot of them have $0 annual fees. Like all the Chase Ink cards have a $0 annual fees for large chunks. So they're really like a great way to earn additional points with
Okay.
your business. And you don't have to put all your business expenses on it. Once you open the card, the bank doesn't care how you use it. I
Uh-huh.
personally like to keep my business separate just for accounting purposes.
Yep.
But you're already paying for Kajabi or Teachable or ConvertKit or masterminds or going to conferences. Like you might as well be earning the points on those cards.
Okay. I love, love, love that. Tell me about any tips that you have for the people who have families. I mean, I know you said Southwest you think is one of the better, airlines to use points for. But if you're traveling with a family, so booking flights on Tuesday is good. But if you're traveling with a family, are there days of the week that are better to travel, less dollars, or what other things can families kind of keep in mind for some best practices?
Yeah, the Tuesdays are really important more for the airlines, for the
For the
cheaper ones.
ticket.
The
Yeah.
hotels have standard pricing with their points, so they're not going to change. They go just based off of like off-peak times and on-peak times of when you travel. So that really doesn't matter as much. But Hyatt, I would say, is one of the best hotel chains for families using points because you can stay in a really nice resort for like 12,000 points. They
Okay.
also have a great chain of all-inclusive resorts. So when you pay for an all-inclusive on points, we just stayed at one in Mexico for 30,000 points a night and it covered food and drink and everything for us. It was a completely free stay for 4 nights at a resort and my child got to eat whatever she wanted. So it was like the ultimate free trip. And so I think that's like the great hack for
And so
families.
do you like what credit card? Was there a specific credit card that you used for that or just one of the many?
So what I did was I had a bunch of Chase points racked up between
Okay.
my personal and business cards, and then I transferred those Chase points to my Hyatt account and then booked the hotel directly with Hyatt.
Okay, that is genius. So we are leaving this weekend to take our daughter to New York City for a trip for her birthday.
Oh,
I
fun.
just tell you how expensive hotels are on Times Square.
Oh,
I
I don't
wanted to
even want to know.
I wanted to throw up. I was like, and I like am all about a bougie hotel stay because I feel like after you've kind of graduated to, a nicer hotel, that it's really difficult
Yes.
to then go back and, stay at a Holiday Inn. I mean, no offense to Holiday Inn, but but anyway, I'm like, am I a hotel snob? Maybe I am, and that's okay. And so again, but it's one of those things where I feel like especially kind of what comes with age, I'm like, I want a really good mattress and I want it to be a really
Mhm.
good experience. And I really need a better night's sleep and all the things. And so anyway, what could I have done to not pay $9 million for 4 nights in New York City? Because it's like it's 2 hotel rooms, it's sweet, it's on Times Square. And trust me when I say like this was a middle of the line. This was not, one of the really expensive ones, but I'm like, good Lord, that how do average people afford this?
Right? Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, some of the resorts we've stayed in have been over $1,000 a night, and I was like, I would never have paid
Yeah.
that before.
Yeah. This
But
for
like
just
I
a
said,
regular room for my husband, well over a thousand
yeah,
dollars.
yeah. So Park Hyatt is actually one of the really nice ones in New York that you can stay at. But again, just transferring those points to like
Okay.
Hyatt or Marriott, they both have, or even Hilton. You can transfer American Express to Hilton. They
Okay.
all have really high-end resorts. And then the other tip that I will give you for getting upgrades when you go to these hotels. So, for example, we went to Mexico. We stayed at this all-inclusive. It was a Dreams resort. It was a higher end
Yeah.
resort.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
We paid for a standard room. It was like 30,000 points a night. And what you do is every single time you travel, the week before you travel, you send an email to the resort and
Okay.
you're going to say, I'm really excited to stay at your resort. This is our first time. If you're celebrating a birthday, an anniversary, or we're just really excited to get away as a family for the first time this year, like just try and add something special and ask for a room upgrade or if there's anything they can do to make your stay any more special, for your confirmation number, the dates that you're coming. And every single time I have sent this email, I have gotten a room upgrade. We just got one when we went there to a swim up master suite. It had a living room, a dining room, a tub, a shower, a swim up outside, huge balcony, and it went for $1,200 a night, and we got it for absolutely free. We've
Nice.
gone and like they've left balloons for my daughter for her birthday with stuffed animals,
Okay.
champagne on ice when we've walked in. So it's worked every single time, and it's like the easiest hack that you can do.
Okay. That feels like what's that movie where he's like 100% of the time it works 60% of the time. Somebody that's watching me is gonna know Anchorman. It's the movie Anchorman. Okay, so it just reminded me of. Okay, that's brilliant. So like we are going this weekend. So should I send an email to
I would
the
send an email and see if you can get upgraded to like a
okay.
higher suite.
So what I should have done is I should have had a credit card. Someone that let me, like probably a Chase one that would let me transfer the points. Okay, so I should have
Yep.
had that. I should have put some of our life on that instead of our Southwest card. Obviously Ava's flying for free because she's a companion. And the one thing I will say about the Southwest credit card with the companion pass is you can switch who your companion is 3 times in
Yes.
a year, which is really nice because
Yep.
sometimes I'll be taking Ari on a trip, so we'll switch, and I'll
Hmm.
send Ava over to her dad's companion and I'll take Ari. And so anyway, I should have mentioned that.
Yeah.
So I should have put some stuff on a different credit card, transferred those points, and used the points to book our hotel.
Yeah. I would definitely open up a new credit card after this call.
Well, and so I think that I've just been so like, because we have, I think, two, although I do also have an American Express. Can we talk about American Express real quick?
Yeah. Yeah,
The
we can
whole
definitely talk
reason
about it.
I got the American Express card was for business because when you put things on American Express, you can accumulate points that you can use towards Facebook ads. Did you know that?
Oh, I did know that.
Yes. And so that has been nice. So that's a ninja tip that maybe I can give our listeners, that American Express cards will, you can use those. So I think like we have $2,000 right now that we can use on free Facebook ads,
Oh,
which would help.
nice.
And so that is nice, especially if you're somebody, who spends a lot of money on marketing. So what are your thoughts though about American Express cards? I mean, I know like my kids are always, oh, they had an American Express, and I don't know, for some reason it's not impressive to me. But tell me your thoughts about American Express and using those for like travel and all those things.
Yeah. American Express is great. I like Chase to start with just because it's beginner friendly, lower
Okay.
annual fees.
Mhm.
American Express is kind of on the higher end, higher annual fees. Their
Yeah.
highest one is a platinum card, which is a $700 annual fee, but it
Okay.
has great perks. Like you said, Facebook ads, you get lounge access, TSA pre-check, all of the different, like, I think there's like a Saks amount of money that you can spend. So there's a lot
Okay.
of perks with them. If you're someone who travels a lot, they're really great to have in your wallet. They do have Hilton is one of their transfer partners, and so Hilton is really nice.
Okay.
But they are the best, I think, for international flights. You can find some really good lay flat seats on some really nice international flights, especially like Europe and things like that. So I
Okay.
really recommend American Express when you're getting to that level of travel.
Okay. That is phenomenal. Okay. Any specific like apps or anything that you like to use for traveling that make life easier? Or I know that's not really related to what we're talking about, but kind of sorta. So do you have
Yeah,
any favorites that you like to recommend?
Yeah, when you start opening up multiple credit cards, it can get a little overwhelming and trying to keep track of everything. So the Travel Freely app is one of my favorite apps to have. It
Okay.
doesn't connect to your bank account, which I love. And you just go in and you put in, I just opened up a Chase Sapphire Preferred card. It'll be the drop down, there's all the cards and the date you opened it, and it will keep track of when your annual fees due, when you need to hit your sign up bonus. It'll send you emails to remind you that your annual fees are
Okay.
coming up. And so it's a really good way just to keep track of all the cards that you have.
Okay. That's awesome. Is that a free app?
Yep, it's completely free.
Travel freely. Okay. Any others that you're a huge fan of?
Just whatever airline like you fly with or the hotel,
Okay.
I always have like the Hyatt app, the Southwest app, things like
Yeah.
that, just to keep you organized or if you lose your confirmation number or something like that, just to stay organized. But other than that, I don't really have any travel apps.
Okay. And I know like I get free internet on any of my Southwest flights that do have the internet. Lately it's been pretty sketch, but are there cards that do all cards do that? Do all of them give you free internet service basically if you're
Yeah,
using?
so everyone's a little bit different on like perks they'll get you. I know Southwest you get free baggage checks, but like
Yeah.
United you'll get two bags, or you'll get free check-in
If
or
you're using their card, is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Okay.
and flying with them. Delta
Okay.
and United also give you lounge access to their airport lounges, which is a really nice perk to
Okay.
have. But again, if you're flying with United, if you're flying Southwest but you have the United card, like
Yes.
they're not going to let you
Yeah.
in the lounge.
Yeah. The other day I literally was on American Airlines with a Southwest card. And I'm like, why does this feel like I'm cheating? I don't know.
Right?
I feel like I'm cheating. Okay. So, all right. So tell me, like, I know you have tips, you have all the tricks. Where can people find you on the internet? Because my guess is there's going to be people who are like, okay, I need more of this because, travel's on their mind for next year. And how can we get to where we want to go? And what could I do to open up things? And so where can people go just to get more information, to, see where you're at online, et cetera? Is it mostly Instagram?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Points to Paradise, and then I
Okay.
also have a podcast that is named the same, Points to
Yes.
Paradise.
And so I found that off of your Instagram, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it was on your link tree, your link in bio,
Yes.
that you have your podcast there. Fabulous. Awesome. Well, this has been amazing. Okay. Can I ask you just some rapid fire questions that have nothing to do with why you're here on
Sure.
the show? I
Let's
like to
do
do
it.
this at the end just to get to like, kind of see people's personalities and things. But okay, just for fun, rapid fire. What's the weirdest thing you own?
Ooh,
I know.
this is probably really weird. So I used to be a wildlife biologist. And so I studied ducks, and I have the bands that you put on their feet. I have one that I took off of a duck to keep for myself, and it's on a bracelet.
Okay, I actually love that. That'd be a great Christmas ornament too. That'd be
Yeah.
fabulous. I love that. Okay, what was your last big splurge? Interesting to have to ask you that because you do a lot of things for free, but tell me something you didn't do for free. What was your last big splurge?
Ooh, my last big splurge. I don't know. We did do a fancy dinner on our last trip that we spent quite a bit of money on, so that
Awesome.
was probably my last splurge. I'm not a big shopper, so
Awesome. Okay. What could you spend hours doing?
just looking up like resorts.
Does
I
it
could
not
just spend
drive you crazy?
I could spend hours just looking at like Hyatt and Marriott's maps and just looking at resorts that I want to
Okay.
go to.
And it doesn't like, so doing that sort of like research doesn't like drive you crazy. Cause when I was researching like hotels in New York, I was like, this is just, it's way too much information. It's too many details. I'm not a detail person. I'm a creative. Show me a pretty lobby and a gorgeous room, bada boom, bada bing. Like, there we go. And I'm like having to go through because I made the mistake of like not making a mistake, but I asked my followers, hey, where would you guys suggest we stay? So then I got to look at all 30
Oh,
recommendations,
geez.
or 40 or 50. And then I also went to Travel Advisor. And then I asked two of my girlfriends who both used to live in New York City, hey, where would you guys stay? So now I've got like 50 hotels and I'm like, what have I done? But then I'm like, but what if I don't look at that one and it's actually bad? Oh my gosh. That was not a good time for me, but you enjoy that.
I could spend like I enjoy the planning process of a vacation probably as much as actually going on the vacation.
You are my favorite people to go on vacation with. Like I love
Yes,
going on
because you
vacation
don't have to
with the
think
planners.
about it.
I just got to show up. Yes. Okay. Tell me what book is currently on your nightstand.
Oh, it is the Rich Dad Poor Dad.
That. I love
I
that
know
book.
it's so good.
It's really, really good. Okay,
Yeah.
last thing. What's one thing you're surprisingly good at?
I'm good at.
I know.
I'm a pretty good volleyball coach. I
Really? Do
really
you
like.
coach volleyball?
I do coach volleyball for several years now.
Fascinating.
So
So we've got volleyball, marine biology, and travel. I mean,
yeah, right.
Megan, this was awesome. Again, thank you for letting me reschedule you 100 times.
Yeah.
I want to make sure people know that your Instagram is points to paradise, right? Like travel
Yep.
points. So it's points to paradise. And the two is TOO, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay, points to paradise. Got it. And so they can go there. You also have a website. Am I right?
Yeah, so I have a Travel Points Academy. So if you want to
Yes.
learn everything travel points, you go through the academy, and in 3 months, you could be on a free vacation from what you learn inside.
I love it so much. I'm rooting for you. This is fabulous. Thank you. I can't wait for everybody to hear all these tips and tricks. Do me a favor, friends. Go give Megan some love on her Instagram. Go check out her website. Send this to your friends, even if they're not in business, but people that you want to travel with next year and figure out how you can get some of that travel for free. So thank you, Megan. Take care of
Yeah,
yourself.
thanks.
All
Have a
right.
great day.